Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel or podcast. I use them interchangeably. Money Talk. Well, I am your host, Yetunde. Now, this is a podcast for people who work, you earn income, you have debt, you want to be debt free, you have a home based business, you struggle with personal finance and budgeting. This is the place for you. I keep it simple and I throw away the financial jargons. Who needs them? Not us. Now, if that sounds good to you, I want you to subscribe, like, share, and comment below. All right? Now, your girl had a nice Thanksgiving break, and I'm hoping you did too. It was just a wonderful time with family. We celebrated, came together as a family. I went to my sister's place, and guys, I did not cook one bit. I'm telling you, when I say I did not cook, I did not lift a finger. I mean, she did everything. So kudos to you, sis. Now, this video is a pre-recorded show that I did with a friend of mine, Susan, over at Unraveling Autism. That's another podcast that I am a host of. I wanted to share this video with you so that it can help us as a community to help other tribes out there. My friend Susan is a single parent, a mother of 4, and one of her child is autistic. And when Susan approached me one day and we just got to talking about finances, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I did not know this about the autism community. And she was able to share her story with me. And that's when I got to know that when a child is diagnosed with autism, about a high percentage of families lose the breadwinner. And as you know, once the breadwinner is gone, the rest of the family suffers. So I just wanted to share this with you because maybe you know someone who is in this category. Now, their child may not have autism. It may be some type of disability, but I just wanted to share this with you because there were some kind of resources that we've also shared on this podcast that I would like to share with you, my tribe. And so, so I just want you to take a listen, take a watch, and share at the end of the video. Okay?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unraveling Autism. This is a podcast for moms of autism, friends and family of autism, those who just want to learn, and everyone in between. Fasten your seatbelts, for this is the unfiltered version. Expect the unexpected.
Like trying to sell my house to pay for therapies.
Wild Adventures Productions presents Unraveling Autism.
For a specialist to come in to take care of Parker, and it was usually the teachers or the aides that work at a school that already knew him. Mm-hmm. So now I'm paying $10 to $12 an hour at the time, mm-hmm. when he was, we're talking about, 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. and I'm getting paid less.
Yeah.
So I'm always playing catch up, you know?
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm always playing catch up, like, because Parker's older now and he doesn't need that kind of care, but he's going to a program, you know, day program, like at a time when he should be working and contributing to his own life. There's a whole factor, like in your assessment, your dollars that you just put out, like, what was it?
1.4 million.
Okay. So that's 1.4 million. But if you add in the lack of money I'm making and the lack of money that Parker will make throughout his diagnosis. So you look at that incremental cost of him not contributing to society, but taking from society and not giving back. That 1 point whatever million dollars it's chump change compared to what we're not contributing. I am more than capable of contributing to society. I always have been. I actually love to work, and I love it all. You know, I always saw myself as a career woman that had children, and I could, do the best with both of them. And I really do believe that if you do what you love, that you're actually a better mom. You know? And not everybody was meant to stay home. But I started staying home out of necessity. And I take care of a lot of other people's children, which is not my thing that I was gifted with, but it became my thing that I was gifted with, which is why we're doing this podcast now, because I've done it for so long that I actually got good at it, you know?
Yes. Wow. Yeah, you hit on something. So, and a question is now coming to me, and hopefully I can get it out right. You were talking about the babysitter and the educators, and one of it, that was one of the things that affect finances as well. More education costs, and depending on where your child is on the spectrum, you may have additional costs associated with education. Not all children with autism can be served by local public schools.
Right.
So many need a special school / class or a babysitter. And parents and caregivers also need to hire a tutor, which is what you mentioned, to help their children with the specific subjects. So while you were doing this at all, what was going through your mind? Like, were you even counting the cost, or were you were just looking for a solution? You were just
And that's why down the road, I really want you to, because it is your strength, to really help put together like kind of a budget and help people and teach them how to budget. Because when I was going through all of this stuff, and to some part even today, I can't begin to think about it. If I think about it, I used to use this term a lot, and now I think about it, I haven't used it in a while. But I felt like my feet were in cement and I couldn't move. And I was very limited in my mobility, right? So I can only do what I could do. And if I started to think about the cost of everything, I think that I wouldn't have been able to really do anything. At the time, I had to just say, I think in the United States, we have this saying, you rob from Peter to pay Paul. It's not a good method. And that's why we're talking to Yetunde, because she deals with money for a living, and she's very good at budgeting. She herself is a single mom. She knows how it works, not to have debt, not to, to be able to pay forward and all of those things. But to be honest with you, I never really thought about it. It was like, today, here's what I have today.
Yeah.
Then I make a decision today on how that money's going to get allocated, and it's not a perfect science. It can't be, because with autism, and especially during the years that we got diagnosed with autism, it was such an unknown territory. And there were so few people. Now there's an entire industry that came with the diagnosis of autism. So now we have specialists, we have therapists of all kinds, we have psychologists, we have teachers, it's an entire industry. And you wonder sometimes, and I'm sorry I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it because this is a very transparent podcast. So I have thought about it. It's just like they're going through COVID and saying, is COVID ever going to be over? Because there's an industry that sells masks, and they have all these hand sanitizers now that the makers of, that didn't think they were going to make $1 billion out of hand sanitizers are now doing it. Doesn't it behoove the society to continue on that route? But there's a whole real community that's suffering from this diagnosis, but there's an entire industry that is making money. And I am so pro educators. I am so pro therapists. Thank God for them, and thank God they're in the industry. And I know and believe, and if I didn't believe this, I think that I would just be so depressed. But I believe that those people that go into education for special needs, those people that do therapy for special needs, that they want cures to come, and given that opportunity, they would move to another segment that they would be, contributing to. So I'm going to believe that. But there is an entire industry that, has to do with autism. We're paying millions of dollars, and our families are going through all this. And we're going to do a whole different segment, you and I. Let's decide right now that we're going to, every once in a while, you and I go back into the financial part, because it's so big. Because at 21, he stopped getting a lot of the things that, the state was paying for before, like a lot of the programs. So now he hardly has any programs that's being paid for. So it's also out of pocket again. But we'll hit on that later.
And thank you, because that was actually my segue. That's a good segue to what I was going to talk about now, which is I have some tips for you guys to overcome financial burden of autism. And since you said that, Susan, you can help me, because I know you've gone through it. Well, first things first is to research assistance options. And that is to call your state, research, because there are probably some programs that can help, that can be of assistance. And again, it depends on which state that you're in. They can have programs in your local area that can help you, people with low income families, and they can help with any kind of financial burden, of autism. That was one of the first things that I would say. So do you think that that's good? Is that helpful? Did you find that helpful, or did you even, what would I say, take part in that?
It's a good question. And I'm sorry that every time you ask me a question that it's not a simple one-off answer.
Okay.
That is a super good question, because so when he first got diagnosed, I heard from the grapevine that there was a thing called Medicaid waiver, but you have to like put your name on the list. And I
Okay.
didn't understand what it was.
And
I looked into it. Did
that's
you look
one
into
thing
that?
I
You look
know.
like
Well,
you know something about it.
actually, that was actually another thing on my list. Apply for a Medicaid autism waiver. Because I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, have you heard from that before? Heard about that before? Yeah, because they
Yeah.
have different things that it covers summer camp. It covers any like music therapy. I know we mentioned that briefly before, and that's of course offline. Um, and also some medical, um, let me see, medical insurance as well that they cover. But like you said, it's a long wait, But yeah, those are part
So
of
what happened with us is, okay, so you get this diagnosis
Mhm,
and it's so physical
mhm.
because the diagnosis isn't just a title.
Yeah,
It's not just a word.
true.
It's a person who's going through this,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So you're helping your son who's going through and living this diagnosis, right?
Mhm.
The diagnosis is there because there's all these behaviors and they have to put a name to it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's a name to these symptoms
Mm,
that you're seeing your child go through.
yeah.
So the one component of it is, of course, the finances, which is such a huge component. However, at the time when Parker was diagnosed, I had the resources, financial resources,
Okay.
probably more than most,
Mhm.
and definitely like 99% more than I have today. Okay, so I've had both sides. Like I've had the whole spectrum
Yeah.
myself because I went from having these resources.
Mhm.
And so when I heard about the Medicaid waiver,
Yeah.
the thing that came into my mind after reading about it is I didn't want to label my son with this diagnosis.
Mm.
And I felt like this sounds crazy. So everyone who's listening, please give me some
Yeah.
grace in this because
Yeah.
it's early on. We're talking, 1997. I'm hit with something. And listen, we'll talk about this again later too,
Yeah.
but I'm a believer in American dream. I'm going on with my life. I against all odds, I got my college degree. I'm working, I'm making money, I'm doing all of this stuff. And then I have kids, and you're going to have your 2.5 kids, and you're going to be, all of this stuff, right? They're going to wear Ralph Lauren, and they're going to go to Harvard, whatever that looked like. I'm being dramatic.
I know the
You know,
American dream. Yes.
Right? The American dream.
Everyone
I'm
has
living
it.
that dream.
Everyone has it. I know you do.
Secretly, everyone has it.
Secretly, yeah.
So I'm just being transparent because why would we be doing this podcast if I'm going to act like everything was perfect? Because nothing was perfect.
Nothing.
So the process was a no process because I have to deal with myself too.
Mhm.
I'm dealing with this diagnosis that my son is going through, and this hard thing that he's living through, and the rest of the family is living through. But I'm now the traffic cop. I'm taking care of my son. I'm taking care of my other son. I'm taking care of my husband. I'm taking care of myself. And you put yourself in the back burner, and but I'm a human being, and I think what I was going through in the process was I'm looking at this Medicaid waiver, and they're like, you need to get your name on it, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, my son's gonna beat this because literally everything I've done up to that point in my life, not the greatest childhood, came out, had to put myself through college, do all of this stuff. And then here's another obstacle. We're gonna beat this, right?
Yeah.
Putting my name and my son's name on that Medicaid waiver meant like I was giving him some kind of death sentence. And I'm sorry for anyone who's doing it. You guys are really smart to do it. It was a long time ago, and I didn't have any guidance. And I just think I don't think I was even consciously thinking that. I think that I was just somehow like something was going on in my head. I'm thinking I'm not going to do that to him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like paying out of pocket for all of these things instead of, and to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
even down the road, he probably could have, I know he could have, especially when I became a single mom, he could have qualified for Social Security for disabilities right away.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do that because I felt like I don't know where his ceiling is, but if I just keep putting these things like closing off his ceiling, I felt like it was closing off his ceiling, and I just wanted to push and push like I would any of my other kids
Mm-hmm.
to go the next level,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's a long way to answer your question
Yeah.
about,
That's yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but yes,
It's
get
good.
your name on the Medicaid waiver, because
Yes.
by the time we put our name on the Medicaid waiver way down the road, guess what happened? What happened was, because there were so many kids being diagnosed with autism, now when Parker gets the interview to assess whether he qualifies
Mm-hmm.
for the medical waiver or not,
Mm-hmm.
they say that his situation isn't as critical as others. So he just
Mm.
keeps getting pushed off, and he doesn't qualify for anything because legitimately there are a lot of people that are physically disabled. They're not doing as well as Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to be the first in line.
Yeah.
So every time now they do an assessment every couple of years for him.
Mm-hmm.
But when they assess him, they say he doesn't qualify for the waiver.
Got it. Got it. So listen, everyone, of course, everybody's story is different. And like Susan mentioned, she's, this is her story. So, you're different. Everyone is different. So one of the tips again is to apply. Go apply
Yes.
for the Medicaid
Yes.
waiver. Yes, it takes time.
But do it.
I've heard it takes time completing the forms and being put on the waivers list, but it offers so many benefits. So please just do it. And it ties in with my first, which is to research. So the first thing is to research those assistant options. So when you do that, that's when you would come in contact with the Medicaid autism waiver. All right.
Well, thank you guys again for watching this video. And I hope and pray that you enjoyed watching and listening as much as I loved recording it with my friend Susan. Well, again, like I said, this is going to be a number of series. I don't know, 3 or 4 series. I have no idea. But what I want you to do is, as you watch and as you take a listen, I hope that you know or remember someone that you can share this with. I just want us to be a community whereby we seek knowledge and we also share information. All right? So we can all help each other out. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for watching. Till next time, peace and love.